All right, guys, we're going to continue on with hyperbolas, okay? Another one of our conic sections. This would really come from slicing a cone that's on top of another cone meeting at their apexes, okay? Slicing either vertically, if the cones were, facing up and down, and you guys have seen some drawings of these conic sections. So we're going to talk about the general form, the general equation of a hyperbola. There's going to be very similar terminology to what we used when we were talking about ellipses, okay? And we'll start with the definition of a hyperbola. It's a set of all points in a plane, the difference of whose distances from two fixed points is constant, okay? Let me show you what that means. Every one of the points on this hyperbola, okay, you will see that a hyperbola looks like two parabolas back to back against each other, okay, obviously with some space in between. But every one of the points, including the one I'm drawing here in red, okay, the distance from this focus subtracted with the difference from here to this focus would be the same as any other point I would select. So subtract this distance from that distance, you would get a constant number, and every single point on here would have that same value if you were to subtract those distances, okay? We can have a horizontal. Now, instead of using the word major, we use the word transverse axis for hyperbolas, okay? That would be basically the direction these are opening. This opens left and right. Right opens left. It is a horizontal transverse axis, just like the major axis. The vertices and the foci will always lie along the transverse axis, okay? Here we have a hyperbola with a vertical transverse axis. They're opening up and down. We have our vertices on that transverse axis, and we have our foci as well on the transverse axis, okay? And then you will notice that our general form, our general equation of both of these is extremely similar to our ellipse. However, in an ellipse, we were determining which axis was the major axis by which number was greater of the two fractions. Was the number greater under the x or was the number greater under the y? Was r sub x bigger or r sub y bigger? Okay, we don't have to make that determination here. The way we decide which axis is the transverse axis, is it horizontal or vertical, is which fraction is positive. As you can see, the main difference between ellipses and hyperbolas, really the only difference here, is that we are subtracting the two variables, the x and the y, as opposed to adding them, which makes one positive and one negative, and the positive leads to our horizontal transverse axis, or our y being positive leads to our vertical transverse axis, okay? All right, same thing. We have, our number underneath, our r sub, would represent the distance from the center to the vertices, okay? It would be h plus r sub x if it's a horizontal transverse axis, or k plus r sub y. Do we need to know these? Not necessarily. You need to know that the number underneath the positive, okay, is going to give you the distance to the vertex, okay? Now, one of the things we need to talk about is there are no co-vertices in theory. Okay, we don't call them co-vertices, okay? But we're going to have the same thought process along the non-transverse axis, okay? To basically do what we call creating a box, okay? As you can see, these openings in the hyperbola, both the one on the left and the one on the right, they are hugging asymptotes. And each one of these asymptotes is a line going through the center of the hyperbola, but also going through the vertices of this box, or the corners of the box, if you will, okay? How do we know what that box is going to look like? We would use the negative value under the fraction, okay? So if it's a horizontal transverse axis, we would look at r sub y. it would give us the distance along the non-transverse axis, or the conjugate axis, okay? We could go that distance, and we would basically have a box to create with the vertices, okay? The points on the conjugate axis, we create this box, which would allow us to draw our diagonal, or what we call oblique asymptotes. We'll get a lot of practice with this. It's something that's pretty foreign to all of our PCA students. A lot of these conic sections are. Okay? So as you can see, if the transverse axis is horizontal, the conjugate axis would be the vertical. Okay, we would use the minor of the two, the negative of the r subs, r sub y in this case, or r sub x in this case, to determine how we want to finish up that box. Okay. All right, we have a formula just like we did for ellipses to find the distance. So we're adding the r sub x squared and the r sub y squared as opposed to subtracting like we did in ellipses. Probably one of the more confusing parts of differentiating how we deal with ellipses and the equations and how we deal with hyperbolas. Okay. All right, the equations of the asymptotes are right here. Okay. The slope of the asymptotes is actually, it kind of makes sense that it would be a ratio of r sub y and r sub x. Okay, because if we look up here at this box, the r sub x in this case would be the run, the r sub y would be the rise. Okay, if we're going this many that way and this many up, right and up, that's the run and the rise of this line. Okay, so that should make a lot of sense. All right, so not only can we draw the asymptotes with the box that we've created, but we can also find the equation of the asymptotes very easily if we know hk, r sub y, and r sub x, or the distances from the vertex or from the center to the conjugate axis points, or the transverse axis points, or the vertices. Okay. Unlike our ellipses, I do want to do at least one example here all together in the notes, just to give you a feel for how we work with this. So, let's turn the page and get to example 1. It says graph the hyperbola that has the equation. So we want to graph it. Okay, so we're going to do some things in order here. All right, the first thing we need to do is get this in a form that we can work with. Okay, so we need it to equal 1. All right, so what we're going to do is divide everything by 144. Okay, that's going to give us our hyperbola in standard form. Okay, so we get y squared over 9 minus x squared over 16 equals 1. All right. So let's talk about whether this would be a vertical or a horizontal hyperbola. Okay, the y squared is positive. This hyperbola will have a vertical transverse axis. Okay. So let's put it in standard form. We did that. We can even write it up down here. Y squared over 9 minus x squared over 16 equals 1. All right, so here's what we have to do. The 9 is taking the place of the r sub y squared. If r sub y squared equals 9, r sub y equals 3. That's going to be the distance from the center to our vertices, because it's a vertical transverse axis. So we're moving for the vertex along the vertical axis, the y. All right, our r sub x squared, that's going to equal 16. And if r sub x squared is 16, r sub x is 4. Those are going to get us the points we need on the conjugate axis to finish up that little dotted box that we're going to have. Okay? And then we're going to use our formula here. We're going to use, I'll even do this in purple here. So r sub f squared, the distance from the center to the foci, okay, is r sub x squared plus r sub y squared. All right. If we do that, guys, we're going to end up with 5. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Okay. All right, let's find our rectangle. We're going to center it h comma k. Since there's nothing added or subtracted to the y and nothing added or subtracted to the x, our center is going to be at 0 comma 0. I'll even use black pen to do that. So we can signify, here's our center at 0, 0. Okay, r sub x was 4, r sub y is 3. Let's put those points on the graph. So we're moving 3 vertically. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the distance from the center to the vertices. We're going to move 4 in the horizontal direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will get us our box here. Okay? So we're drawing our dashed box here. All right. That will also allow us to draw the asymptotes. Okay, we're going to sketch those asymptotes. So going through these points here, through the corners of the box. Okay. There's the sketch of our asymptote. There's the sketch of our asymptote. All right. Awesome. Okay. The foci are a distance of 5. Okay. Well, I guess should go in order here. Sketch the asymptotes and find the equations. The equations, okay, of these asymptotes. Okay. Remember, x. We can write them here. X minus h times r sub y over r sub x times y minus k. Okay. Now h and k are both 0 and 0, so we're going to have y minus k, and then the x minus h is over here. My apologies. So we have y equals r sub y over r sub x. That's our rise over run. We have 3 over 4 times x. Okay. Now you guys knew how to graph this back in geometry. This is a line passing through the point 0, 0 with a rise over run of 3 over 4. Go up 3 over 4, put a point. All right, we nailed it. Okay. And that should have a plus or a minus. Okay, because there are 2 asymptotes. Let's graph the hyperbola now. Okay, we'll graph the hyperbola. So here are our vertices. We're going to have an upwards facing portion of this hyperbola that hugs those asymptotes. We're going to have a downward facing portion of this hyperbola that hugs those asymptotes. Check. Use the vertices and asymptotes to sketch the graph. We did that. And now we're going to graph our foci using the distance from the center to the foci, which is 5. Okay, remember the foci will be along the transverse axis. So we want above and below the center a distance of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is one focus. There is a second focus. And we have done everything that we needed to do with this hyperbola. Okay. Other than that, guys, so let's just recap here. We wrote it in standard form. We understood that the center was 0, 0. We understood that r sub y squared was 9. We understood that r sub x squared is 16. That gave us 3 and 4. We used the Pythagorean theorem derivative to find r sub f, the distance from the center to the foci. It happened to be 5. We knew it was a vertical transverse axis because the y squared was the positive term. Okay. We used r sub x and r sub y. R sub y got us the vertices. R sub x got us the points along the conjugate axis that helped us create our box. We sketched the asymptotes going through the corners of that box. We then wrote our asymptotes because we know geometry. Okay. Also, we gave you the formulas on the other side of the page. We graphed the hyperbola. It's going to be going through each vertex, hugging those diagonal asymptotes. And then we graph the foci, knowing that it should be along the vertical axis because, again, the y squared was positive, a distance of 5 from the center, both above and below. And that's it.